रूपं सग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं सद्वैतं सवधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कंचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितनां पवनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So today we continue our seminar on the art of binding the Lord in the heart. Hare Krishna. So we discussed first two shlokas of the Mudrashtakam so far, and we were explaining how Nalakuvara and Manigriva received this great benediction in the form of a curse from Narada Muni, and how important it is to receive blessings and attention, we can say, of great souls like Narada. Although apparently he cursed them, and curse is something inauspicious, we can say, isn't it? But the curse of a Vaishnava is auspicious, actually. Although they suffer for some time, but this suffering 15 million years, yes. But this suffering was beneficial for them. So we can also take this as a lesson for our life, that sufferings that we experience in our life are meant for ultimate benefit. Once I saw a physical experiment, and they were rolling down the inclined hill, not a hill but some surface, inclined surface, two balls. One surface was straight, and the other surface was up and down, and both were inclined, and it was very interesting that the ball which went on this up and down surface was faster than the ball that went down straight. Interesting, isn't it? Because the path is longer, actually, if you go like this than if you go straight. But it was faster. So these obstacles in our life, Jai Shri Shri Radha Gopinath Ki Jai. These obstacles in our life, these sufferings that we undergo in Krishna consciousness, are actually Krishna's mercy. They're not karma. It is explained by our acharyas that when devotee starts the process of devotional service, when he engages in service, he's not under the jurisdiction of karma anymore. He's under Krishna's direct jurisdiction. It's like servant in the court of a king. He's not subjected to the law of the state, but he's subjected to the will of the king. Because if he does something wrong, according to king's judgment, maybe it's not wrong even in the judgment of the state's law, but king nevertheless may punish such a servant according to his own judgment. But sometimes the servant may commit something against the state's law, but the king doesn't consider this very important and doesn't punish him, or punish him differently than there is prescribed law. So, although it looks like karma, it is, we should know, it is not. For devotee, everything that happens to him is Krishna's mercy, and we should take it in this way. Yes. Tateno kampam susamikshana mano bunjana evatma krita vipakam kritvakva purbir vidadanam asti jivitayo mukti patei satayabak. Devotee sees everything as Krishna's mercy, and he glorifies the Lord, and he knows that everything he undergoes is just a consequence of his past misdeeds. That we can say it's like karma. But some say, call this Krishna karma. But actually it's Krishna's mercy. Yes. Karma doesn't have the potency to turn us to Krishna. We can see people of this world, and not just people, animals and plants, they all suffer. All living entities in this world suffer. Ahastani sahastanam apadani chatushpadam falguni tatra mahatam jivo jivasya jivanam. One living entity is a prey to another living entity. Yes, this dismal world. Yes. And everyone is suffering. But ordinary karma has no potency that would invoke remembrance of Krishna. But when we become devotees, all these different tribulations that we undergo are impetus to remember Krishna. So we can see that they are not the consequence of our karma, but the consequence of Krishna's mercy. Yes, Krishna's mercy has the potency to invoke remembrance of Him. So, and these two personalities, although they were very sinful, they were blessed by a devotee, and so they also became associates of the Lord. They became Madhukanta and Snigdakanta, the two singers in Vrindavan. Actually, they glorified the Lord for the rest of eternity. Sorry?
The first was Madhumanta?
Madhukanta and Snigdakanta. Yes. Yes. Okay, and we discussed how even Balaram couldn't untie the rope. Do you remember why?
Because mother tied, and mother is more elevated.
Yes, Vatsalya Rasa is above Sakya Rasa. And because Balaram is acting as a Saka in Sakya Rasa, he cannot untie the knot of Vatsalya Rasa. Only Nanda Baba could untie the knot, who is also in Vatsalya. And then Krishna didn't want to go to Mother Yashoda, because she bound him. And Rohini asked Krishna, "But where will you sleep? You usually sleep with your mother. And he said, "I will sleep with my father." And also Nanda Maharaj was really angry with his wife, and he didn't speak with her. It's like great punishment in marriage life if you don't speak with each other. And Yashoda was devastated because everyone thought by great Krishna's mercy our child was safe today, because two great trees just crushed around Krishna, who was helplessly bound to a grinding mortar. So Yashoda was devastated. Everyone was. Nanda was angry at Yashoda. Krishna was angry at Yashoda. So she was really devastated. And then Rohini wanted to save the situation, and because she saw that Mother Yashoda, she'll be finished if Krishna will not come to her. And so she said, "But what if your mother dies?" And then Krishna started to cry and started calling, "Mother, mother." And started to run to her. Yes, and then everyone cried. Hare Krishna. And so then we come to the next verse of the Madhurashtakam. It's the third verse. Iti drigsvalila bir ananda kunde svago shamni marjantam akyapayantam. Iti drigsvalila bir ananda kunde svago shamni marjantam akyapayantam. Tadeshitagesho bhaktar jitatvam puna prematastam shatavriti vande. Tadeshitagesho bhaktar jitatvam puna prematastam shatavriti vande. With these super excellent childhood pastimes, Lord Krishna drowned the residents of Gokula in pools of ecstasy. In this way, he declared to those absorbed in knowledge of his majesty and opulence, "I am conquered only by my pure loving devotees." With great love, I again offer my obeisance to Lord Damodara hundreds and hundreds of times. Yes, iti driksvalila bir ananda kunde. Here, Satyavat Muni tried to establish Lord Supreme Glory. How he drowns everyone in complete ecstasy with his pastimes. Yes. There are unlimited pastimes going on every day in Vrindavan, and everyone is completely charmed with these pastimes in all different types of rasas, all different types of relationships. They are completely immersed in sweetness, as we said, this Madhurashtakam. Everything is sweet in the abode of sweetness. Yes. And from the very beginning of life, actually, he was extremely sweet. And when he was a small boy, they were acting to him as he would be a wooden puppet. they said to these elderly gopis, they induced him to sing and clap with his hands and dance. And then when Nanda Maharaj came home, he was sent to bring wooden shoes, and he brought shoes of his father on his head. Yes, he was carrying shoes on his head. Yeah. And sometimes he came to a certain thing that usually is too heavy for a child, and so he just touched this thing, and then he showed that he cannot move it. And then he showed how strong he is. But it's interesting, just a few years later, he moved an entire mountain with his left finger. But here, he couldn't lift a single piece of something. A little too heavy. Yes. Unconceivable. Yes, and we said that this was not pretense. This was not pretense on Krishna's part. As Birva Mangal explained, we also mentioned that Krishna, at the same time, he knows about his glory and he forgets. So he knows and he doesn't know at the same time. This is inconceivable for us, but it's possible for Krishna, who is the master of agatana Shakti, a Shakti, potency that makes impossible possible. Yes. So, sorry?
How you call it?
Gatana Shakti. Gatana Shakti. Yes. So, there are different stories and of course Leelas by which Krishna and Balaram immersed the residents of Gokula in complete ecstasy. One time there were small little boys and Krishna wanted to go out, but he didn't dare to go alone. But then he saw that Balaram is also going out and he joined him. And there were a flower garden that was surrounded by thorny bushes, actually dried branches of thorny bushes to protect from wild animals. And somehow or other they succeeded to make some passage through these thorny branches, but to go into this flower garden to get some flowers because they were extremely nicely smelling. And then when they went inside, these branches fall again on their place and locked Krishna and Balaram in the garden. And so they started to cry, and then mother came and rescued them. And Krishna would also very love to play with bulls, which was extremely frightening for Mother Yashoda. He grabbed the bull by horns, and then the bull, who was also Krishna's servant, Krishna's devotee, he was swinging his head like this. So Krishna was swinging up and down on the bull's head. Yes. And in Bhagavatam is explained how Krishna and Balaram were crawling and they couldn't even walk. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is trying to walk, but he cannot. He was crawling on the courtyard of Nanda Baba, which was full of mud mixed with cow dung and cow urine. They were completely smeared with this mixture of Vrindavan soil and cow dung and cow urine. One may think that it's really messy, but we know that it's a great mercy. And so they came to different calves, and they wanted to stand up because the little children, they practice to stand up and walk. If you have your own children, you can perceive this, that when there is something sturdy, they grab it and try to stand up. So when they came to calves, they tried to stand up and they grabbed calves for their tails to help them in this regard. But the calves became afraid and started to run. And the usual reflex is if you are grabbing something and then something happens with you grab even harder. So they grabbed even harder for the tails of these calves, and they were dragged all around because calves were running here and there, and Krishna and Balaram were dragging on attached to these calves, and all these elderly gopis were laughing and enjoying the fun. And there is one student of physics in Slovenia, a devotee, who is very fond of these different pastimes, and he's a tutor for younger students of physics. He prepared different tasks with descriptions of these pastimes that they had to calculate how Krishna and Balaram slided through this mud. Hare Krishna. I'm not familiar with physics, but it looked very, very interesting. Yeah. So we can use these pastimes in all different circumstances. Hare Krishna. Yes. And Krishna was so enchanted also by his own beauty. He saw himself in different pillars, because pillars were mirrory. And he saw himself and he was talking to himself because he was so beautiful. His most beautiful personality. One would think that he's extremely egocentric. But the reality is that he's the most beautiful personality. And he's just sincere. Krishna acknowledges the truth, the absolute truth, that he's most enchanting and most beautiful personality. And there once the lady from Mathura who was hearing about Krishna many times, and that was also the case with these Brahmana ladies. They also heard about Krishna. So hearing about Krishna is extremely important for our spiritual development. Yes, Shravanam therefore is mentioned first. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sivanam. Archanam Vandanam Sakyam Dasyam Atmanivedanam. Dasyam Sakyam Atmanivedanam. Yes. Shravanam is mentioned first because it's extremely important to spiritual advancement. This fruit seller heard about Krishna many times from other people who were going in and out of Mathura and Vrindavan. And so she was a fruit seller and wanted to see Krishna. And although she came to Vrindavan many times, she couldn't see Krishna. But one day she was determined that she will not go back to Mathura without seeing Krishna. And so when she went to the house of Nanda Baba, she was calling out different names of these fruits that she was selling. But in anticipation to see Krishna, she became so ecstatic that she forgot to call out these names of these different fruits. But she started to call Krishna's names. Govinda, Madhava, Keshava, Krishna, and so on. And this is instructive also for us. We should be determined like she was determined not to return to Mathura without seeing Krishna. So that should be our determination. We should not return to material world. Yes, we should see Krishna. And so Krishna was attracted to her calling his holy names. And so we should also attract Krishna by calling the holy names. In Kali Yuga there is no other way than chanting of the holy name, chanting of the holy name, chanting of the holy name. So we should be absorbed in chanting, like this lady was absorbed in chanting the holy names. She forgot that she doesn't call the names of the fruits. She was calling the names of Krishna. So we should also forget everything else and absorb in the names of Krishna. This is extremely important, as we mentioned yesterday. Don't think that this process is mechanical. That I chant every day 16 rounds. And actually 16 rounds is minimum. Prabhupada first said that his disciples should chant 64 rounds. And then his disciples were astounded. How can, it's impossible for us to chant 64 rounds. And then Prabhupada said, okay, 32. And they were still not able to accept this instruction. They said, even 32 is too much for us. We cannot chant as many rounds. And then Prabhupada said, okay, 16 rounds minimum. And we know what is minimum. Minimum is bare survival. For example, these people in concentrating camps, they got minimum food. They survived somehow or other. Those at least who received minimum food. But this is not enough to be healthily nourished. So we should understand that 16 rounds is minimum, not maximum. Yes, please.
But Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati allows some of his devotees to chant only 4 rounds. and some others 64.
Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati also said that those who don't chant 64, that they are fallen. Yes. Yes, they didn't have a certain vow to chant, but Prabhupada was intelligent enough for Western people that he could understand that if these people don't vow to chant at least some certain amount of rounds, that they won't chant at all, or they will just sing a little bit during their other work, and they will consider this as chanting. Yes. So the point of these fixed rounds, and we can see also Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he counted his rounds. Yes. Although he was chanting all the time, but still he counted his rounds, and that was one of the arguments of his associates that why he need one servant, Lord Chaitanya, when he went to the South Indian tour. They said, because you have lota in one hand, and with the other hand you count your rounds, you can not do anything else. So you need someone to carry things around for you and takes care. So also Lord Chaitanya counted his rounds. So it's important to understand how important is this mantra meditation, Hare Krishna meditation. Yes, it's most intimate mantra actually, Mahamantra. And Prabhupada gave ingenious meditation. O Srimati Radharani, O Krishna, please accept me in your service. And this meditation can be used for one who just came today to the movement, and also one who is most elevated spiritual personality. Both can use the same meditation. Yes. It's so simple, but so profound. Yes. Please Radha, please Krishna, please engage me in your in your service. Yes. So this fruit seller was calling out Krishna's names, and Krishna was attracted to this calling of his names, and so he grabbed a little bit of grains to exchange for these fruits, and he ran to this fruit seller. He also had to avoid Mother Yashoda, because Mother Yashoda didn't allow Krishna to mix with unknown people. And this was a stranger, this fruit seller, not a familiar person. So we are also strangers in Vrindavan. So we should call out Krishna's names from deepest parts of our heart. Yes, very seriously. Don't do anything else during your chanting. Yes, go deep in your chanting. Don't talk to each other. Don't look through your phone. Don't do anything else. Just chant. If possible, all rounds in one go. Yes, then you can immerse in chanting of the holy names. Otherwise, how can we immerse? Yes, how we can put aside all our different anxieties and concerns if we don't go deep. But we cannot go deep if we just are catching our rounds all day long, for example. We cannot go deep. Yes. And even the best way to chant is to sit down, because if we walk around, inevitably we have to perceive other things, otherwise we can stumble and fall or hit something. So we have to be aware of the space. And we tend to look at different things when we walk around. So, but no, we should go to try to go deep and not allow our consciousness to be diverted to anything else. Yes, only such attitude in chanting will help us to go deep. And it is how important it is to go deep. I will tell you one example, which I believe you all experienced. Sometimes we suddenly perceive that something is hurting us, but we don't know where we got this pain from. We hit something or something, we don't know. Isn't it? Have you experienced like this? Yes. I believe you all know Mother Devaki. She was explaining, she was a handball goalkeeper in her younger days.
A what?
Handball goalkeeper.
Handball goalkeeper.
Yes, handball goalkeeper. And she was so immersed in the game that she didn't notice that she broke her thumb. Yes, and only after the game she saw that her thumb is standing like this. And then started to pain her. Not before. Yes. So, if our mind is not with something, that we don't really perceive it. Yes. So, and another example that also you may experience, if we take prasad in great haste, we suddenly realize that we didn't taste anything, isn't it? Yes. Did I taste anything? No, I don't even know what I have eaten. So, it's extremely important to immerse our mind that is present in what we do. And all enjoyment also comes from that you're immersed in the thing that you're doing. Also material enjoyment. You cannot enjoy things if you're not present with your mind. Yes. Even most enjoyable things of this world cannot be enjoyed if you're not immersed with your mind. What to speak of the holy name. So, yes, I invite you to immerse yourself in the holy name. Don't allow these tendencies of lower nature that distract us from this most precious gift given to us by Lord Chaitanya himself, who is Radha and Krishna together. Yes. So again, back to this fruit seller. So Krishna came to her with these little grains. He could retain in his small hand, and gave these grains to her and asked her for fruits. And she was so charmed by his beauty that she gave all fruits to him. She wanted to give all fruits, but Krishna had two small hands. He couldn't hold everything in his hands. And so she gave him everything he could carry. And she was so absorbed in his beauty. She went on the bank of Yamuna and was just ecstatic. And then she suddenly realized that her basket is heavier than before. And she saw that it's filled with jewels and gold and most precious gems and so on. And then she began to cry, Krishna cheated me and threw these gold and gems into Yamuna. And was just crying on the bank of Yamuna and didn't want to go anywhere else. Yes. She just wanted Krishna. She didn't want material wealth. Yes. So we shouldn't strive for material wealth. Material wealth is great impediment. Yes. Great impediment. Those who don't have it, we said this in one of our classes, they're in distress. They hanker for it. And those who have it, they're even greater distress. So, don't hanker for material wealth. Hanker for spiritual wealth. Hanker for Krishna. Hanker for servitorship of Radha and Krishna. Yes, nothing else matters. Yes. Everything will be taken sooner or later. And maybe very soon. I have two friends. One was the friend of a brother of temple president of in Ljubljana. He had two little children. He was in early 40s or something. And he went to a walk with his little child. And suddenly, he just collapsed and died. A devotee. Just collapsed and died. And other, just recently, tomorrow is his funeral, actually. I believe you knew him. Namakirtan Prabhu, also from Slovenia. He also has a little daughter. He played ping pong and just collapsed and died on the spot. Just recently. He was also in his 40s. Yes, and healthy, seemingly healthy. So we cannot know. As Jesus said, you don't know the day and the hour. Yes. No. So we should be very, very conscious, very Krishna conscious all our life. And there is another story from Mumbai. There were two devotees, or maybe even more, very, very successful in the university. And one decided that for final exam, he was studying medicine. For final exam, he would immerse in studying. And for this time, he will give up associating with other people, even devotees. He will stop chanting because he considered that he doesn't have enough time to study if he performs all these things. And there was another devotee who increased his chanting during this time. And they both did excellent at the end. In fact, this devotee who gave up chanting and associating with devotees, he was the best student in the university all over. And there are thousands and thousands of students in Mumbai. You can imagine, one of the largest cities in the world. And he was telling devotees, yes, I will come back to devotee association as soon as I finish my studies. And then it happened that was a Sangha program or some Namahata program in one student place, some residential building for students. And in the same building, at the same time practically, there was also a final party for the students. And the devotees saw this devotee who stopped chanting and coming to devotee association to come with them, because now his studies are finished. Let's go to Namahata program. Let's chant and feast prasad and so on. And he said, just today I'll go to this party because I'm the star there, because I'm the best. I have to attend to this function, to this social function. I'll go to this party. And he went and he died during the party. Hare Krishna. Yes. Hare Krishna. Instead of hearing and chanting the holy name, he was hearing what, I don't know what. And maybe some rock and roll music or who knows what. Definitely not chanting of the holy names. Yes, so we should be very careful. This world is not a joke. And there is one saying that is valley, at least in Slovenian is like this, I don't know if it's in English, such an expression, a valley of tears. Valley of tears, yes. So don't put your hopes in this world. Put your hopes in Krishna. Yes. And last point that is we'll mention today is that those who are immersed in Krishna's opulence can never attain Krishna's sweetness. This is mentioned also in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Krishna appeared because he's not satisfied with Vaidhi Bhakti actually. He's enchanted by raga, by our deep attachment to him. So this concept of fulfilling our vows and stick to certain rules is very beneficial as long as we don't develop at least desire to develop desire. But we should know that this will not satisfy Krishna, and no one with Vaidhi Bhakti can enter Vrindavan. Yes. Only with raga we can enter Vrindavan. We can develop relationship with Krishna. So go deep. Without going deep, we will never develop this attachment needed to enter Vrindavan. Yes. Bhaktar Jitatvam, only those who are in pure love, especially those with Unatojvala rasa, Madhurya rasa. As we heard that every other rasa in Vrindavan supports this Madhurya rasa. So yes, this is our tradition. So hanker for this. This is the most precious treasure we can get. Hanker for it with all your heart, or at least pray to hanker for it. Hare Krishna. Is there any question or comment or doubt? Yes, please.
Krishna, thank you very much for your nice selection. The pastime of this fruit seller, was this before Putana or after?
This was after.
After, because
Yes.
I was thinking that Yasodamata had been very afraid of strange people who are coming to her ground. Is it like?
Yes.
So
when Putana came, Krishna was just a small infant actually. He was a small baby, just born, newborn actually, a few days old. Yes, because Kamsa ordered these demons that they should kill babies 10 days and less old. So he was 2-3 days old. 2-3 days old at the time when Putana came. So as such a small child, he grabbed her breasts and drank the poison and the milk together and gave her the most elevated position as his nurse in the spiritual in Vrindavan actually, not just Vaikuntha. Hare Krishna. Anything else? Yes, please.
Yeah, you give these interesting examples of Hare Krishna. You give these interesting examples how it works to be absorbed, and I also had examples like that. I was a soccer player, and many times, after the match, you come out and your leg is open, and you didn't know during the match. And sometimes when you drive the car, also, you're just absorbed in something, and you didn't notice the whole drive where you were, you're just not aware of it. So it seems to me that, when you really get absorbed in it, that the subconscious is actually activated. It's the subconscious who then you're absorbed. But this can only be done by mercy, no? When you have your subconscious, immersed, absorbed in the chanting, then you're fully there. But if you're just in your conscious mind, then the deviation is always there.
Yes. Therefore, these emotions are extremely important. To develop emotions, deep emotions for Krishna. And I gave this example from this Slovenian folk song. I don't know if you heard. How what we receive in the most tender part of our life when we just born. This goes most deep in our heart, what we receive from our mothers especially, what we drink with our mother's milk. This goes extremely deep in our consciousness. Yes, but mind is always disturbed. As Arjuna said, that it's like a raging wind, and it's impossible to control it. And Krishna responded, Asamshayam mahavaho mano durnigraham chalam abhyasana tu kantaya vairagina grihyati. That without doubt, the mind is extremely restless. But with constant practice and detachment, we can conquer the mind. Yes, and the mind should be conquered. Because in next verse, Krishna says, Asamyatatmano yogo dushprapa iti mimati. Vashyatmana to etata hapyo Vashyatmana Tutta Asamatatmano go dushprapayati mimiti. Vashyatmana Toyatata Yatuh. I forgot the last line. The purport is that if one doesn't conquer his mind, he cannot achieve perfection. So by constant practice, and I stress this, therefore this abhyasa, this sadhana is so important. Constant practice. And in 12th chapter, Krishna says that by this abhyasa, this constant practice, we will achieve the desire to achieve Him. Yeah. So, immerse in sadhana. Sadhana is not something dry. Sadhana is meant for us to go deep. And when you go deep in something, then you can develop real emotions even. Without going deep, it will be just sentimental. Everything will be empty. Yes, either sentimental or fanatical, but not deep, not true emotions. Hare Krishna. Yes.
So, towards the end of the fruit seller pastime, she threw away all this material opulence into the Yamuna. But also the understanding is there that as, practicing bhakti yoga, all these things, they can come, material opulence or qualities of a Vaishnava, but it's not that we need to reject. So how to understand this?
Yes. We know that we should engage everything in Krishna's service. But we should know also rasa here of this fruit seller. She felt that Krishna wanted to exchange his association to some jewels of this world. That he gave some jewels, and so I'm not indebted to you anymore. You understand? I don't have to show myself to you anymore. Such kind of distractions in our life should be rejected. We shouldn't cling to anything that separates us from Krishna. Yes. There is one extreme story, but I think you're a mature audience. The famous Srimad Bhagavatam commentator, Sridhar Swami. Have you heard about Sridhar Swami? Famous commentator, the original commentator of Srimad Bhagavatam. He wanted to take sannyas, but his wife was pregnant, and he concluded that while she's pregnant, he cannot take sannyas, but after she will give birth to a child, he'll take sannyas. And then it happened that his wife died when she gave birth to a child. And then the child was alone with him. And he was thinking, how can I take sannyas now? And I have to take care of this child. And he was chanting the holy names. And then he saw in his house a small lizard walking around. And there was a fly that flew by this lizard, and the lizard was just stretched his tongue and captured the fly and ate it. And then he realized, yes, Krishna takes care for every living creature, so I should take sannyas immediately. Hare Krishna. Of Of course, this is not a story to encourage us to leave our duties. Therefore, I expected that you're mature enough to understand properly this story. But we should understand the spirit, that we should reject everything what is coming between us and Krishna. Yes. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for your attention. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Damodarashtakam ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Bol. Please accept my humble obeisance.